Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. For this week's reading, I will be working with the cosmic reading cards. So let's see what the messages are, and what I do is I intuitively draw the cards, so these messages may or may not resonate with you, but my intention is always that whoever is watching receives some messages from the cards. So having said that, let's get started. I feel guided to draw 3 cards. We just had the eclipse and the new moon, so there's a lot of shifts going on. The message that I've been receiving for myself is to retreat and to step back and to just center my energy, because I felt like the energies were very intense. So let's see what cards are coming through and what messages need to come. Okay, we're done. 3 cards. Okay, the first card we have is World Within Worlds. Okay, what I'm receiving from this card is basically when you balance your inner world, your outer world reflects the same. So what I mean by that is, let's say there is something that stirs up within you, or you feel anger, or you feel all these negative emotions that are coming up because of some external factor. Okay, when you try to find that peace or balance or that release within yourself, when you go within yourself and find out why is it that certain situations or certain people trigger that in you. Many a times these triggers are because of your childhood wounds or insecurities or things that happened in the past that are still unhealed. Most of the times it is that, each person that shows up in our lives is like a mirror for us to heal something within ourselves. So what I'm getting with this is, whatever you're feeling externally, you're feeling internally has to do with, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but what I mean to say is that the triggers that you have been feeling is just a way of showing you the things that you need to clear within yourself. Okay, they're just actually what they're doing is they're pointing out what is that you need to release, what is that you need to work on. They're basically triggers for a reason. So you don't need to deny it, or you don't need to fear it. Okay, fear is another one of those negative or shadow emotions that we are afraid to face. But you may have found that whenever you're afraid of doing something, when you do it, the fear kind of diminishes itself. So that's an example of how to work through those negative emotions. And what I'm getting is, with this first card, is that you are feeling a lot of triggers, and these triggers may be deep rooted, like in your childhood or in your past. Or what you need to understand is, why are those situations, or what is the pattern behind those situations? Why are those situations happening? Why is that those negative emotions are coming up? And most of the times I find that these negative emotions, like anger or fear, or they're coming up because they need a voice. They're coming up for clearing. They're coming up because they want you to shift. They want you to release and work on it once and for all, so that you can bring light to those situations within you. It's your wounded self. It's your, it's that inner child. Most of the times, the situations that trigger us, they have their roots in your inner child. Okay, they were, maybe as a child you were abandoned, maybe as a child you were devalued, or you grew up in a dysfunctional family, or every time you spoke up you were ignored for, or not loved the way you expected people to love you and understand you. So all these things that you are feeling externally are because there is something within you that needs light, that needs love, that needs that recognition, so that once and for all you can break free from it. Okay, let me see if there's anything else I'm getting with this. Now, the other thing that I'm getting with this card is to shift your focus, okay? To shift your focus. I almost feel like whatever you think about, if you keep thinking negative thoughts, then that is what you're going to attract into your life. Negative people, negative situations. And you have to understand that your thoughts are like magnets and they draw people and situations to you. So you are powerful. You are a very powerful being. And if you want your world to change, you can't change the people outside of you. You can only change how you think and feel. So if someone's triggering me outside of myself, I cannot change that person. I can only change the way I think and I feel about that situation. So this is what I'm getting with this card, is the shifts that you want in your life. They begin with you, with how you think, how you feel. So pay attention to your thoughts, and it's more like take self-inventory of what's going on. I feel this is a very introspective card, okay? Whatever it is that you feel within you is what's gonna be mirroring outside in the external world. Okay, so let's see what the second card is, and then I'll go through the cards and then we'll do an overall reading. The second card we have is Let Go. What's interesting is that there's so much darkness here, okay? And it's like there's so much darkness, and I feel it's almost like I'm looking at some aspect of your mind, and you see that light behind it. It's like there is the stuff, you know, the stuff that's holding you back from this light, from this phenomenal light, from this expansion. And it's really stuff, it's really thoughts. That's what I'm getting. It's thoughts, it's negative thinking, it's old patterns, and that you need to let go, that you need to release now. Because, you know, with this energy that's going on, the eclipse energy, it's very intense and it goes on for quite a few days, sometimes for weeks. And it stirs up emotions within us. It stirs up things that we haven't worked on or we haven't been willing to look at. Look at this, it's like a jumbled mess. That's what I'm getting here. And it's not to be feared and it's not to be judged, okay? I don't feel like you need to fear it or you need to judge it. I also want to say that have compassion for yourself. Have compassion for yourself whenever these negative emotions arise, whenever this anger arises, or whenever you feel this fear, this anger, this resentment, these unforgiving thoughts, these judgments about yourself or others. But pay attention to it, okay? Pay attention to it just like you would pay attention to a child who's throwing a tantrum. And you try and understand, like, why is it that this child is throwing a tantrum? Like, you have to understand your root cause. Like, why do you feel the way that you feel? And what are your feelings trying to tell you? And what is that you need to release so that once and for all you can clear this? So you see, the thing is, I feel it may be an emotional week for a lot of people, okay? And these emotions are coming up for a reason, so that you can let go. Just like this card, you can let go, you can clear away. And you know, I also understand that when someone says, okay, just let go, it's not easy to let go. It's not that easy to let go. It's a process, it's a journey, but everything starts with intention. So when you set that intention that, okay, I want to work on myself. Like, for example, I can only give my example. So I always had a lot of fears, and I really had to work through those fears by stepping up and taking and actually facing my fears was one of the ways of letting go of my fears. So that's the thing, whatever it is that is blocking you, sometimes it's best to face it. Sometimes it's best to deal with it and be gentle with yourself in that process and have compassion with yourself, because you know what I understood with my fears was that it was my inner child that felt vulnerable, that felt scared, and I really had to go back to her and soothe her and tell her that everything's okay. So it's a process, like I said before. It's not an overnight thing. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, have that compassion for yourself, that it's not something that you can, take a magic wand and change it overnight. But as long as you have that intention and you want to work through, I feel that's the first and major step, is that recognition of it, and then setting the intention and then working through it. And sometimes you need extra help. Sometimes you need to go to a spiritual guide or a counselor or someone who can help you through these heavy, dense emotions. So what I'm feeling for this week is definitely a very intense emotional week, but also understand that these emotions which are coming to surface are coming for a reason, because you can finally release them, let go of them, and bring in more light and have more compassion for yourself. Now the third card we have is intuition, and you see that it's like a big beautiful eye, and what I'm hearing is eye of spirit. Okay, for many of you who are listening to this, I feel like you went through a lot of stuff, a lot of emotional situations that made you feel stuck, but you're not really stuck. And I'm getting that spirit is aware of it. Spirit is aware of it. Spirit is aware of the challenges that you're going through. Okay, I'm also feeling for many of you, this is like an internal struggle that you're going through on a daily basis. You can't really share it with anyone, and you feel like nobody would understand you. But once again, this card is saying, like, it's almost like your spirit guides are saying, we are here with you. We know what you're going through. We are crying tears with you. That's what I feel with this card. We're crying tears with you. When you're crying, we're crying with you. They feel it. They have that compassion for you. And they also have the compassion that they understand that, being in a human body, being on this earth plane, on this density of this 3D reality that we are in, it takes only a brave soul to come into this dimension. I just want to mention that. So you're here, you're dealing with life situations, sometimes karmic situations, sometimes soul lessons that can be so tough, and you may feel alone, and you may be going through these intense emotions and intense tests or soul lessons. But always know that your spirit guide is with you. Your the divine spirit source, the beloved, is watching over you, and you are never alone. And how is it that you would know that spirit is guiding you? It's through your intuition, and intuition is your heart center. Your heart is your guide. Your heart will guide you through every situation. We've all had situations where it was so difficult, but our heart, deep in our hearts, we knew that everything would be all right. There's nobody outside telling us this, but we just feel that everything's gonna fall into place, and it does. What is that? That is your intuition. That is spirit talking through you. And as I look at this reading, I don't know, for each person who's watching this, your situation will be different. But I feel like whatever it is that you're going through, it is bringing up a lot of stuff for you. It is really challenging you. And there may be triggers like this. I feel like there are triggers coming from different people that are triggering you, and the reason they're triggering you is really they're bringing out the best in you. And I know it doesn't sound good the way I'm talking, and you'll be like, you don't know what I'm going through with these. Yeah, but they're really triggering. They're bringing out the best in you through everything that you're going through, okay? And it's not in vain. There's a purpose to it. And